Okay, so today we're going to be talking about creating a cleaning routine that works for you. But before we get into the topic, whenever I do a non-frugal topic, I always try and include a frugal tip of the week first so that we have some little bit of frugality to each episode. So this week's frugal tip of the week, and I've shared this one in the past, but it just occurred to me the other day when I was storing some food that maybe it would be worth mentioning again. My tip is to use storage bags rather than freezer bags for if you're like storing meat or leftovers in the freezer, but only if you're going to use them in a relatively quick amount of time. Like say, for example, if you buy meat at the grocery store this week and you're packaging it up and freezing it to use it over like the next couple of weeks, it will be totally fine if you use storage bags rather than freezer bags. But if you are going to store it for an extended period of time, I would still recommend using freezer bags because they're meant for like longer term freezer storage. But if you're just going to have it in the freezer for a short period of time, it will be totally fine in regular storage bags rather than freezer bags, and they're a lot less expensive. So that's my frugal tip of the week. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about creating a cleaning routine that works for you. And the reason why I wanted to do this episode is because this is something that I really struggle with. I always have. I try so many different things. If you're anything like me, you might have tried many different ways to manage cleaning your home over the years. And it's just something that I really struggle with. It's not that I struggle doing the actual work. It's that I let myself get overwhelmed with overthinking everything. Like, how often should the shower curtain be washed? When is the last time I dusted the ceiling fan? Like, all these things go through my mind, and I struggle with knowing like how often things need to be cleaned and if I'm like keeping up on them. And I don't know. I'm not someone that just keeps the house naturally clean by knowing like intuitively what needs to be done, when to do it. I mean, there's times when I'll walk by something and say like, oh, that really needs to be cleaned. And then I'll like stress about it a little bit for the minute, thinking like, when am I going to do that? And then if it wasn't on one of my lists or I don't put it on one of my lists, I'll probably just forget about it until like a month later when I might see it and say, oh gosh, I forgot that really needs to get done. Not a normal person, but a person that doesn't struggle with knowing when to do things would probably just clean it in that moment. And I think the reason that I don't is because I struggle with priorities. If I clean that thing now, am I not cleaning something else that's more of a priority? I know it's ridiculous, but this is like the thoughts that go through my head with managing cleaning my home. And it's not really so much the basic things, like the bathrooms are always clean, I always keep my dishes done, like all that kind of stuff. It's just like all those other random things that have to get done. So now you're probably thinking, why am I even listening to this episode from this person who doesn't even know how to keep their house like managed perfectly properly? But anyway, so I am no expert on cleaning routines, but I definitely have found things that have helped me out. So those are the tips that I'm going to share with you today. So we all have different schedules. We have different things on our calendar. Some of us like to do stuff in the morning. Some of us like to do stuff at night. Some of us prefer to spend time cleaning on the weekends, and some of us just prefer to do some each day during the week and keep the weekends free. So the most important part of creating a cleaning routine for yourself is to find one that will fit best within your current life situation and that makes sense with when you like to get things done. So I can't tell you how and when it would be best to get your cleaning routines done, but I'll share some tips on what I think you should think about as you create your routines. So one thing that has really helped me a ton is to kind of block in my cleaning time between other tasks that are kind of more concrete time-based. I don't know if I'm kind of explaining that right, but like, for example, I have a definite time when I do daily cleaning routines. So for me, I'm a morning person. I like to do stuff in the morning when I first wake up. I'm like really motivated and I want to just like start getting things done. And by the end of the day, I'm pretty much like useless. So what I did for myself is that I set a half an hour aside each weekday morning to do cleaning. And what I do is I wake up, I exercise for a half hour, then I clean for a half hour, and then I get ready for work. So by having that half hour of cleaning squeezed in between my half hour of exercising and then the time that I need to get ready for work, I don't allow myself to procrastinate, because I know that that's the time that I have to get that task done for the day. So if I like mess around, go check my phone, I don't know, go on my banking, like whatever, some random stuff, that half hour is going to be gone, and now I just lost my time to get the cleaning done. So I feel like for me, it helps me with having the cleaning time slot in like that kind of blocked in time frame where there's not a lot of room to allow for other extra things. It's like, okay, I have a half hour to get the bathroom done. I got to do this right now. So I do my exercise. I immediately go grab my stuff to clean the bathroom, and I just start cleaning it. And I know I have to get it done in time before I have to start getting ready for work. So I found that having a definite amount of time to get the cleaning done definitely helps push me to get it done. It's like what they say about a task expanding to fill the amount of time allotted. There's like that saying, I don't know exactly what it is, but it definitely applies to me. If I allow myself a general longer period of time to get cleaning done, I definitely do not stay as focused, and I tend to spend way too much time on getting the stuff done that needs to get done. I'll kind of like drag it out. Like I said, maybe I'll stop and like sit down, and maybe I'll look at my phone for a minute, or maybe there's something on YouTube and I'll stop to watch for a second or whatever. Like I'll kind of allow myself to be more casual about it, which for certain things is fine. But when there's certain things that you really want to get done, it's a lot better to have that like time crunch and just know that you have to get it done in this amount of time. So that has really helped me with getting my main priorities done each week. You know, I do it in the morning. If you're a night person, maybe you could have a time slot to clean before getting ready for bed, so that you're kind of up against a certain time when you want to go to bed, so you'll push yourself to get done by then. Or maybe you could try doing some cleaning before it's time to start cooking dinner, so that you kind of have like that limit where I got to get done by this time because I got to start cooking. It's really just kind of it's really just kind of about trying to block yourself into an allotted period of time. And if you're not the type to allow a task to expand like I am, then maybe you don't need to do this. But it's really helped me a lot. So I'm thinking that there are some of you out there that might benefit from trying this out. Another tip I have is to really identify what is the most important to you to have cleaned each week. So knowing that some weeks you're going to have more time to clean than others, it's really important to identify what tasks are the most important to you. So those are kind of like your non-negotiable cleaning chores. If you have things that are non-negotiable but are already so much part of your day that they're never really an issue, then you don't really need to include those on the list. Like for example, we do dishes automatically after dinner. I just do laundry as a habit whenever it needs to get done. So I don't really identify those as like part of creating my cleaning routine, because it's already an established routine. It's never been an issue. I don't really fall behind on those things. So I don't include those. But if dishes are a challenge for you, or laundry is a challenge for you, maybe those are a couple items you want to include on your priority list. So you want to really like identify like what's your biggest priorities that don't just kind of happen naturally during the course of your day. If you're not sure about your cleaning priorities, try comparing various tasks and think which you would rather have done if you could only do one of them. Because sometimes it can be hard to like think of our priorities and be like, okay, I want to get the bathrooms clean, and I want to scrub the kitchen, and I want to get the floors done, and I want to clean the fridge, and I want to, I don't know, like wash all the throw blanket, whatever, like, all these different things. You could start thinking of all these different things that you could think are priorities. And in an ideal world, you'd want to get all of these things done every week. But the idea here is to identify like your top priorities. If you can't get anything else done, what will you be okay with if at least these things get done? So maybe try comparing tasks. Like for example, one of my top priorities is the bathrooms. So if I was short on time, I would rather have the bathroom cleaned than have the floors in the living areas mopped. Now, would I like to have the bathroom clean and the floors in the living rooms mopped? Of course. But if I could only choose one, what would I rather get done? So everyone has different priorities. So really think about what's most important to you if you were really limited on time. So by identifying my priorities and making sure those get done is really helpful to me, because if I have a really busy week and I don't get much else done, I remind myself that those most important things were done, and then hopefully that I'll get some more things done next week. It really just helps me, I think, with my mindset about this like overwhelmed feeling that I can feel like that I'm just not keeping up, I'm not getting enough done, everybody else gets all their housework done, which I'm sure isn't true either, but I just kind of have these ideas that like I should be getting more done, and that I'm not keeping up enough. So by having those priorities identified and saying like, hey, I got these done, it just really kind of makes me feel better and say, you did get things done, you got these really important things done, and maybe next week will be a little bit slower and you'll get some of the other things done that you didn't get to do this week. And by knowing that you got the most important things done, it just kind of, you feel a little bit better knowing that like, yeah, it was a really crazy week, but I got these things done and that was the most important. So, like for example, on Saturdays, I have a Saturday routine where I get up, I clean my guinea pig cage. We have 2 little guinea pigs, they're super cute. But I clean the guinea pig cage, I clean my fish tank, and I water the plants. So I also feed the dogs, but I do that every day. So that's just whatever. I throw that into that routine, but that's just like a daily task anyhow. But cleaning the guinea pig cage, cleaning the fish tank, and watering the plants, those get done once a week. And I do it every Saturday morning, like as soon as I get up. So if nothing else gets done on a Saturday, if we have a busy day, we have a party to go to, who knows what, I remind myself that all the living things were taken care of, and those were the most important things that had to get done that day. So I'm good. I don't need to worry. I don't need to say like, oh, I should have really done some other things today. No, it's okay if I have time. Yes, I would love to get other things done, but if it's a crazy day, I know that I got those most important things done. So for your weekly tasks, once you've decided when you're going to clean and what your priorities are, it can be really helpful to decide what order things will be done and always do it that way. This helps you with solidifying your routine so that you don't have to put a lot of thought into it every time you're going to go do your cleaning. So for example, I have my priority tasks assigned to a day of the week. So in my Monday morning half-hour cleaning slot, I clean our upstairs bathroom. So by knowing that that bathroom is going to get cleaned on Monday morning, I get up, grab the stuff that I need, and get the bathroom clean. I don't have to waste any time looking at a list, trying to figure out what I'm going to do that day. I just get up, I do my exercise, I clean the bathroom, and then I get ready for work. So it just kind of makes it become automatic over time. Of course, at first I had to look at a list to say like, okay, what am I doing this Monday? Because I didn't really have it memorized yet. But once I started doing it every week, I just know Monday morning is the upstairs bathroom. I grab my stuff and do it. If you prefer to do your cleaning on a particular day and not over the course of the week, then if you can decide what order you're going to do your tasks in, that can be really helpful too, because once you get your routine down, you can just roll right through from one task to another without having to take time to look at a list. Like for example, like I said with the Saturday with the guinea pig cage, the fish tank, whatever, I get up, I do the guinea pig cage, I go right to the fish tank, I go right and water the plants. So it's like I don't have to think like, oh, what do I do next? I just go from one thing right to another. So kind of deciding what order you're going to do them in can really help you in just kind of getting things done quicker and then moving along. So you also want to try and schedule one of your cleaning time slots for like those other weekly cleaning tasks that aren't those top priorities that you picked, because some weeks you will be able to use that time and get those tasks done. But if you have a really busy week, it'll give you a little bit of flexibility to let those things go without feeling guilty. And then maybe if you really need to use that time for something else, you'll have it available. So I wouldn't, if possible, I wouldn't try and fill every one of your cleaning slots with those top priorities. unless that's just the way it works out and that's your time is too limited and you have to do that in order to get all those priorities done, then you have to do what you got to do. But if you're able to assign one of your cleaning time slots to kind of get other things done, you can have that little bit of flexibility if you need to like let something go 1 week because something else needs to be done during that time. So then the periodic tasks. So where I've always struggled and still struggle the most is with periodic tasks. Those are the things that need to get done once a month, once a quarter, or whatever. I always feel overwhelmed, as if I'm not keeping up on those things enough. And I wonder if I'm just like the only one or if everybody thinks like this. But I try to tell myself that it must be like this for others too, to make myself feel better about it. So for the monthly or like occasional items, I have used the FlyLady app for years to keep track of those items. I'm not going to go into the FlyLady method in detail in this episode, but basically one of the things that she recommends is dividing your house into different zones and then doing some of those deep cleaning tasks in one of those zones each week. I used to do weekly episodes going over what I had on my list for each zone. So if you're interested in hearing like what some of those cleaning tasks are, you can go back and listen to those episodes. And then we also do have printable zone cleaning lists in our private listeners group on Facebook. So if you're interested, if you are a member of that group or if you join that group, I can show you where those are. They're printable PDF documents. But even with the FlyLady system, I struggled with keeping up on the zones. Some weeks I would do really great and I get a whole bunch done, and then other weeks I wouldn't even be able to get to my zone cleaning, or maybe I would only get a few things done in that zone that I was working on. So if that zone didn't come back around for 4 weeks, it could be several months before I got everything done that was on like the deep cleaning list for that part of my home. And for some things in the zone cleaning, that would be totally fine. But there are some detailed cleaning tasks in there that I felt like needed to be done more frequently. There's other things that it's just like, okay, if it doesn't get done for a few months, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. It's just one of those things that you want to do once in a while. But like, say for example, one of the items on my zone cleaning list might be to dust the ceiling fan. So for me, that needs to be done more often. It doesn't need to be done weekly, but I don't want to wait several months either. So I struggled with prioritizing the tasks within the zone by how often they needed to be done. I didn't want to wait months until I went back and checked off every other thing on the list before I got the ceiling fan done. Because I'm one of those people that like wanted to really like check everything off in the list and then start fresh again, because that's kind of how you're supposed to do it. But at the same time, there's definitely things within that list for the zone that don't need to be done as frequently, and it kind of is under the assumption that you're going to tackle all of those things over the course of several times of coming around to this zone. And I just kind of struggled with some of those things that I knew definitely needed to be done more often. So I'm kind of trying to create my own kind of method that works for me, using the FlyLady zones as a basis, where I still have everything broken down by zone. But then I'm trying to identify the things that I would like done over a certain period of time and kind of pull those out, and then have like another separate list of the things that can just get done whenever I get to them. That way, maybe as I do each zone, I could say like, okay, ceiling fan needs to get done, this needs to get done. And then if I still have time, okay, let me look at that other list and see what those other tasks are that don't need to be done very often, and I'll get maybe one of those done. But I feel like if I can kind of prioritize the things that need to be done more frequently in the zone, but not weekly, I think it'll help me with being able to kind of use the zone cleaning, but with not being so overwhelmed with making sure that I get every single thing done in a zone before I go back to the beginning of the list and start over again. So, you know, I think it's really all about starting somewhere, getting routines in place, and you know, just keep trying and seeing what's working for you and what's not working, and then just kind of tweaking them over time, because it'll eventually evolve and you'll get little ideas like, well, this isn't really working for me. How could I make this work better? What areas am I struggling with? It's not going to be perfect, but you have to remind yourself that you are getting things done, and your house doesn't have to be perfect, it's really important to think of what's most important to you and acknowledge that you're getting those things done. Because I'm sure everybody, even the houses that look like sparkling perfect all the time, I'm sure there's some areas that they're letting go so that they can keep other areas perfect looking, because everyone's busy and it's really hard to just take so much time cleaning. So my biggest tip is really to just get those priorities identified, figure out when you're going to do your cleaning, and try and figure out a time that kind of you can block in. And also a time, I didn't mention this before, but also a time that is not usually going to be taken up by like an event or something like that. That's why I do mine like early in the morning, because I know it's not like we're going to have something scheduled. But again, maybe you could do something later at night, or on like if you maybe you work from home, maybe on a lunch break during the week. Like try and find a time that is not usually the time when like event or an activity is going to get scheduled, so that you'll be pretty certain that most times you'll be able to do your cleaning during that time. So that's all I have for today. I hope this was helpful in some way. These are just some things that have helped me, but like I said, I'm still working at it, and I'm really just trying to, acknowledge myself for what I am getting done and not focus so much on thinking that there's more things I should be doing. So that's another tip right there. So if you'd like to email me with any questions or suggestions, you can reach me at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Lola's Frugal Life. You can find blog posts for each episode on my website at lolasfrugallife.com. And you can also join our private listeners group at facebook.com/groups/Lola's Frugal Life. And if you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen from. I would also really love it if you would screenshot the show and share it and tag me on Instagram. It'd be really helpful to me to just share the show with friends or family that you think might like this and help get the word out so we can build our audience. And also, if you can take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast, that would be really helpful to me. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a really awesome day.